I need it louder, Felix.
About to do a watch party right now.
Hey. Starting in 1 minute, y'all. Good evening. As you're popping on, leave us a comment and say hello. It's Wine Down Wednesday, y'all, so tell us what you're drinking. I got some white wine here, Chilean wine.
Oh, shit. I started a watch party.
You started a watch party?
Yeah.
Watch party's cool. No, share it. Sharing it is better.
I did. Oh, I can share the live?
Yeah. Hey.
I'm still learning.
Drop us a comment as you're here. Hey, Leah. Hey, Shamik.
Whoa.
Jeremy, are you here? Who's here, y'all? Good evening, everybody. It is Wine Down Wednesday. We are at 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific, 11 a.m. Sydney. We got Sydney, Australia in the house.
You're for real? That's exciting.
Yes, we do.
That's exciting.
If it's your first time here, welcome. My name's Amelia, which you probably should already know that because this is my page. That's my friend Felix. I'm in Viña del Mar, Chile. He's in New York City. And we have been doing Wine Down Wednesday. I think, what is this? Is this our fifth? I don't even know what universe.
Fifth, sixth, something like that.
This is like our fifth, sixth, seventh. I don't even know.
Doesn't matter.
But we're doing Wine Down Wednesdays every Wednesday night for the rest of our lives until further notice.
Yeah, pretty much.
And we've been talking about all the hot topics that matter to you. We've been talking about sex. Last week we talked about sex. We talked about spirituality. We talked about how not to be a dick. We talked about relationships and dating. Talked about money.
About the quarantine experience, you know, especially international, NYC, Harlem. People are packed here. It's insane.
Hey, Leah. And tonight, thanks to the president of our fan club, Mr. Shamik himself, he has requested tonight's topic. And tonight's topic is, how do you attract love? And we are actually going to have guests pop on with us. And I know those of you who have been wanting to be guests tonight have been blowing up my phone, blowing up my DMs, asking me, how do I be a guest? Well, we are figuring it out. Just kidding. I already know. So what I'm going to do is when it's time to let a guest in, I am going to share the Zoom details in the link in this Facebook Live. And I'm not going to do that right now because we're not going to take guests in this very second. But I'm going to post it. I'm queuing it up so that y'all can join as a guest. Hey, Jeremy, you're in the house. So, Felix, you've been really excited for tonight's topic. So I think you should just kick off the conversation. How do you attract love? Like, share your excitement with us. What has you so hyped up for tonight's conversation?
It's such a meaty subject. It's such a big question to ask. How do you attract love? And so it's I don't even know where to start. So where I would start is jumping right into it. I think for a lot of us, it's defining what love is to us, right? So I think the first step for a lot of us, we have this unhealthy idea of what love is, right? So we have this, and so we recognize love, like when we grow up, we are programmed, you know, so we recognize love to be a certain way. and then we go into the world thinking that that is love, when it's actually
Yeah.
not. We haven't defined love for ourselves. So first we want to ask ourselves.
Hi, Erica. Erica's in the building. Erica.
That's
Hi,
awesome.
Tiki Wan. Tiki Wan is in the building. I think I agree with you. And I think if you're asking the question, how to attract love, it's likely that, yeah, maybe if you're wondering how, you probably haven't had the best role models growing up about love.
Yeah.
And I actually, before, like, just to kind of kick it off too, even like go even deeper, is I want to open up with a quote. And I want to say this: how do you attract love? That is the number one question that I get asked. That is the number one question that I get reached out to be a guest on web shows, podcasts, online summits, speaking engagements. Like, that is literally, like, I get emails all the time saying, Amelia, will you come speak on this subject? So it is a really, really hot subject, and people really, really want to know. So I love your opening question, and I'm going to go into a quote after your opening question. But the first question that I'm hearing you say is, so what is love? So
Yeah.
Felix, what is love? No
So
pressure. And
no,
to
no.
those of you watching, I want you to comment, what is love? Lady,
So if
don't hurt me.
if again, like, defining love for what love means to you, right? So we have right now, how do I attract love? So you're talking about love. That's a bigger conversation than how do I attract a partner, or how do I attract a mate? Because for a lot of people, that's what they're saying. How do I attract love? How do I attract the love of my life? And that's a very single-minded way to look at it, because in our lives there are people that love us, right? So it's being able to recognize what love looks like. That way you can see what it looks like in a partner, right? So for a lot of us, we have this skewed idea of what love is, and it's based on our values and and our identities and who we are as a person. And then what happens is that we recognize love as something that was programmed by something that was modeled to us. So our model of love is actually one that doesn't serve us. It's one where we are depleted, where we give way too much to someone who isn't willing to reciprocate, right? So we have to look at that and recognize that that is what we've been choosing, that's the love, that's what we are defining love as. And that's not what love is. Love is not meant to box you in. It's actually designed to liberate you, right? To set
Put
you
that
free.
on the t-shirt.
So
because it's free.
So what is love? First, you have to learn how to recognize love outside of romance, right? So you have to become. It's creating a relationship that's healthy with love, and it's not attachment or lust. So for me, what is love? Love is an action. So for a lot of people, it's like a warm, fuzzy feeling. For me, love is an action. And I believe that I'm actually experiencing love right now. You know what I'm saying? And you can experience love and be single. You know what I'm saying? You can love yourself and be single. So, and that's the pathway into finding what I believe. The question was prompted from what I believe, and I can be completely wrong, is, finding partnership, finding a mate.
Well, Shamik is on. So Shamik, you were the one that requested this topic. So feel free to comment, and don't worry, Shamik, we'll have you. I know you want to be a guest, so we're going to pull you in, but feel free to elaborate on what you mean by how do you attract love, so we can speak directly to that. And I just want to share some of the comments here for definitions of love. Love is a sense of wholeness, completeness, and sharing. Love is connection, it's attention, it's joy. It's when someone respects you and loves you for who you are, not trying to change who you are. Yeah, so Shamik says, yes, you're right. How do you attract love? How do you attract a partner?
The simple answer for me How do I attract love? I attract love by giving it freely. That's it. That's the simple answer. But this is the reason why I said that this question is so meaty, because there's so many layers to it, right? So I am looking for a partner, right? So, all right. So right now, you may think that you want a partner, but right now, I actually think that it's the best thing that you're single right now. Because if you had a partner, where you are might not be the best. You might not be in the best position to be in a partnership yet, and that's okay.
Food for thought. I'm gonna give y'all a quote. So those of you who have been through my 3-month relationships and dating program, you've heard me use this quote often. And to those of you who have worked with me one-on-one, you've heard me use this quote often. To those of you who've been to any one of my classes, this is one of my favorite quotes, and it is literally the foundation of all things self-love, all things that I teach. So I'm gonna say this quote. I'm gonna say it more than once probably, and I want all of you watching and you, Felix, to think about it, to chew on it, and then respond. I want to see it in the comments. And so the quote is this. It's by Mark Nepo. And he says, "The flower does not dream of the bee. The flower blossoms and the bee comes." I'm going to say it again, and I want you to listen to it in the context of tonight's topic. How do you attract love? How do you attract a partner? How do you attract a mate? So I'm going to say it one more again. The flower does not dream of the bee. The flower blossoms and the bee comes. So, Felix, what do you think about that? Audience, what do you think about that? I want to hear it in the comments. What's coming up for you? I know some of you watching have been through my programs and have heard me say this before, and we talk about it all the time. So that's my answer to that question. That's my short answer to that question. But Felix, what do you think?
So in 2017, I had the most, I want to say, I'm dramatic, so I'm going to be like the most devastating breakup, right? But it was great because it actually pulled me out of my comfort zone. I needed to like let go and step back. And what I acknowledged that had I been loving myself, I wouldn't have allowed a lot of the things to happen in the relationship, right? So the relationship wouldn't have lasted as long if I had been loving myself. So what I did was that I took a vow. Being dramatic again. I made the choice that I was going to start loving myself and honoring what I felt, and that I was going to start exposing myself for who I truly am and stop lying to myself, right? And we all lie to ourselves, and that's fine. It's a matter of catching it.
That's deception number one, boo.
So what I said was, in 2017, I was like, you know what? I'm not looking for someone. I am attracting someone to me, right? So you don't have to look. You will attract what's for you. It's going to be for you. Therefore, you don't have to chase it. All you need to do is be the person who attracts it. And that's a process. It's not, you're not going to change your mind and be like, it takes time. It takes practice.
Yeah.
And it's an emotional, spiritual, all of that journey.
Yeah. Shamik says, "Girl, my whole life has been about blossoming. Lots of effort put into self-actualization. Then what?" Well,
you don't.
I think in order to talk, well, yeah, you have something to say, Felix. But in order to really peel back these layers, we'll need one, because I feel like there's a. Are you receiving the quote? Go ahead.
So
Felix.
here's the thing. You can be moving, but you may not be moving the direction you think in the right direction based on relatively where you want to be. So, being busy, being active doesn't mean you're making progress, So just take some time and just be with it. You know, like.
Well, what I say to this is this, right? So I always open my group program and my one-on-one programs with that quote. And you know, people get it. And then that's why I have come up with the 5 deceptions that get in the way, because they are deceptions. They deceive you. They are things that are deceiving you, that are in the way. And you're like, I'm over here blooming. Here I am, at bloom. Meanwhile, there's like this in front of you. So you're like, I'm blooming, and you're like this, you know? So, and those are the deceptions that get in the way. So Shamik, have you been watching the deceptions daily? Have you been watching? I did day 3 today. Today's Wednesday. I'm doing day 4 tomorrow and day 5 on Friday. Have you been watching? That's what I want to know.
Hey, Aziza.
So I think we need to get into a conversation. So if you're here,
let's get it.
Keep leaving us a comment. And now I am going to post the Zoom link, where if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want to join the conversation,
it's gonna be awesome.
Join that Zoom link and we will pull you in and we're going to have a conversation, because that quote is really all you need.
That quote is awesome. That's a great quote.
The flower blossoms and the bee comes. Now, go ahead.
No, it's exactly, it's not
exactly
looking,
that.
It's not looking, it's attracting.
Yes. It's being a vibrational match. And actually, I talked about that yesterday with deception number 2, which is unhealthy power play. And you're not a vibrational match. And even in the way that I read that, like my whole life has been about blossoming. I put all this effort into self-actualization. Then what? There's this energy of like, and that's not really blooming, blossoming energy. It's like, then what, you know? And again, this is not to point any fingers. I say the things I say about dating and relationships so fiercely because I've made all the mistakes and I've done all the things. So I'm like, there's no judgment here, but yeah. So I put the link on how to join. And if you need a password, the password is there. It's I love me. And so I don't see anyone.
And also like join. Hey, welcome. Our life has all been about blossoming. Like, yo, we've all been like, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit, I'm blossoming. Like, I blossomed today. I opened just a little bit today. Like today, I like, you know what I'm saying? So
tell us more about that. What do you mean? How did you blossom a little bit today?
Today I killed it today. Like today was an awesome day. I don't even know what.
We got Shamik on here. Hold on, let me pin this comment. Shamik, are you ready to come on? I think he is. We're gonna have him on here. He's joining. Here we go.
So let me answer your question. So I had my coaching calls, So
hi, Ricky.
Again, I told you I'm doing a 12-month.
Hi, Natasha.
A 12-month mentorship. And the 12-month mentor, it's like every day. I got to put in work every day. So I just been consistent with my work. I've been working out. I've been eating well. I've been cooking. I've been on my grind. So it feels really good. And I feel really energized.
You're blossoming, baby. All right, so Shamik is here.
Do you
see
me?
Shamik.
What's up, Shamik?
Nice to meet you, Felix. And hi, Amelia.
Hi, boo. Yo, Felix,
I am
you're
your
going.
number one fan, president of your fan club.
No, Felix, you're going too hard on my boo Shamik here. He said "ouch" a couple times in the comments, so I'm gonna need you to,
listen,
be nicer to Shamik.
It heals. It heals. I promise you that it heals and it becomes stronger.
All right. So you're in the conversation. Do you have any questions? We're just gonna kiki about this, and I may bring my knife of clarity out if you're lucky. I'll probably bring my knife of clarity out. So yeah, this actually was your suggestion for a topic. So maybe just ask the question and then we'll kiki about it a little bit. So what's going on for you? What's present for you right now?
Oh boy, so much. You know, you guys went really deep about childhood trauma and shit. So let me just start there.
Okay. I
so-
had no idea.
Wait, are you talking about today, deception number 3?
Yeah.
Because I went deep today. I went there.
I mean, just off the bat, like, you know, something I'm pretty open about is that, you know, I lost my dad when I was 2 years old, and I kind of feel like I've been searching for that love in all the wrong places for the rest of my life. You know, it's like, if you know what that feels like, you know, and you know, of course, I had really fucked up role models for love. Like my parents, they didn't have an arranged marriage, but culturally it was very about like the woman bowing down and the man, you know, kind of like running the household. And there was a lot of like devices my mom used to fucking take the upper hand, and I don't blame her, you know. And where it gets really fucked up is being gay. And now today, fast forward 35 years, embracing my feminine and my masculine and being in it, it's like I'm blossoming to your point. But it's been a tough journey, you know, like I've really struggled with like, what do I want in my life? How can love unfold in my life? And I've mostly been single, you know, so, and I think being in New York City plays into that. This hookup culture plays into that. And so, you know, without going too much, I will just say that fast forward quarantine, it's been really good, like listening to you guys, and also really good how people have slowed down. And I've been doing a lot of like Skype dates, which has been really great, and just getting to know people. Yeah. And I've been abstinent for 2 months, which is a big deal for me. I gotta say.
Everyone's crawling the walls up in here, though.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much casual sex everyone was having until quarantine.
But the great part about that is I realized all the energy I was putting into the chase, I like was stealing from my creativity bucket, and I was stealing from my career bucket. And now like all of those are blossoming too. So I'm in a good place today.
Yeah, that's what's up.
I'm in a good place today. But Felix, to your point, like I did ask that question about relationships, like a partnership, you know what I mean? Because that isn't something I haven't been able to manifest, right? And I probably need to hire Amelia after this to just like cut through my deceptions and my bullshit. But it is something that I struggle with, and I have to just be honest with that. And yeah, I'll leave it there.
Yeah, so yo, thank you. I'm sorry. Just thank you so much for sharing in such a vulnerable way. Like all of those things that you shared are so big, and like your mom, your parents, and all that. Like, you know, who did they get it from? You know, like we've all inherited stuff from our parents, and it's up to us to be like, yo, is this the story that's going to continue, or am I going to put a stop to it? So thank you so much for sharing that, because it's so freaking awesome. I forgot what
I'll go. I mean, I think the one thing that I wanted to point out was there was a big thing here that is not small that you said, and you said all that energy that I was putting into all that dating and stuff is like, I'm now putting it into myself and into the career and the creativity, and I'm blossoming, and that is it, you know. And I think here's the thing, it's not like, oh, I just want to be the flower, because in this scenario the flower is like the feminine, the open, the attracting, the magnetizing, and the bee is the masculine, the going for it. And I think, you know, with all people, we all have both energies inside of us. So I think one of the very first steps is always like deciding like what is your ratio? I mean, that sounds weird and nerdy, but like, what is your ratio? And then what is it that you want in a partner? And I'll give an example. So I actually have a lot of masculine energy. Like, and you Shamik, you've known me for like 20 years now? I mean,
20 years, girl.
Girl. And I'm still 17. No.
That's the problem.
No, but so I have a lot of masculine fire. I have a lot of drive. I have a lot of just like that kind of bee energy. I go for what I want. And so for me, the shift that I had to make was realizing I want a masculine partner. That's what I decided. And I feel like we all get to decide what we want. This is not a gender thing. This is an energy thing. And so for me, like, I'm straight. I want a partner who's going to penetrate me in many ways. I love that word penetrate. I've been saying that a lot lately. But even not just sexually, but like energetically, emotionally, I want to be open. So like that flower. And so I was not attracting the right people by being the bee. And so I had to decide, okay, well, I still want to channel my masculine energy. And so I also studied with a relationship expert, and she taught me I can use my masculine fire in my work, but at home and in the bedroom and, you know, in my relationship, I need to be more feminine. And so the piece to take it even deeper, so like Shamik, what I'm hearing you say is like the blossoming is like, yes, self-actualization, focusing on yourself. Another piece about blossoming, to take it even a little deeper, is about softening and opening and surrendering and loosening up some of those protections that we unconsciously have, and maybe we also consciously have, right? So even like for me, when I was out and in the clubs and in the night scene, I was like thinking I'm open, but I was really still being like masculine energetically. And so for everyone watching, including you, it's like, what kind of energy do I want to be with? And so when I'm in a dating situation, like, so for me, I had to learn to be more feminine and more the flower and softer and surrendered and vulnerable in order to attract the kind of masculine man that I wanted. Being that fiery kind of more masculine type, like that I was in the boardroom, if you will, was not working. I was attracting either unavailable, machismo, kind of emotionally unavailable men, or men who had too much feminine energy, and that I would literally bulldoze, not meaning to, but just bulldoze. And so that's usually like, that's like the first thing to think about is what kind of energy partner do you want? And then you have to channel the polar opposite of that in order to attract that, right? So I have a lot of masculine fire, and in my last relationship, you know, I was able to attract someone that was very masculine, but also very in touch with his feminine side. And that was a great match because the ratios were like perfectly, you know, opposites of each other. So does that help? What do both of you get from that?
A lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Jeremy, where are you at? Okay, Jeremy, but you're not on here. He said he'll go next. And Zeke was on here, and now I don't know what happened. But yeah, no, Jeremy, just sign on and I'll let you in when we're ready to let you in. We can even have both of you on at the same time. It'll be fun. But yeah, do you have any other questions or anything else you wanted to say?
Well, I wanted to hear Felix's opinion, the guy's opinion.
Yeah.
What was
hearing me, what do you have to say to that from a guy's perspective? And you've known me for a long time too. So y'all both got lots of dirt on me. So
I don't have any dirt on you. I think, you know, some of what you said, it's so I don't know too much about the masculine energy and the feminine energy, right? So that's not my kind of work, right? So I'm a fitness lifestyle coach. So I work through like behavioral work and, you know, nutrition and cognitive like reconstruction and all that. So, but I think the thing that aligns with what she said is, again, like being able to recognize what it is that you desire, right? So at the moment that you recognize that that's not what it is, you can make the choice. Right, so a lot of us attach ourselves to the person, where that's the unhealthy part. We attach ourselves to the person and not our vision, right? So not the the relationship that we want, right? So the right person, right? I'm using right relative here. The right person will be able to notice their patterns, will be able to work with you, will be able to work on themselves, right? So that's actually what you want. You're not going to have a perfect relationship, right? All relationships are work, and all relationships are going to challenge you, and they're going to put a mirror up on who you are, right? So there's this idea that I just want a relationship. Well, that's not true, because if you were in a relationship, you have no definition for what all right, so let me ask this. What do you value most in a relationship?
Ooh. That's deception number 5, Felix. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Listen, but you have to become clear on what you want, because this is how you recognize it. Listen, a lot of us accept shitty love because we are like, oh, that's love. Oh, he's ignoring me, he loves me, right? So then it's like, I recognize this as love, so I'm gonna be attracted to it. Once you're like, oh, I don't accept that shit, I recognize that that's not love, fuck that, right? So I recognize that is love, let me continue with that, right? So it's not just what you attract, it's what you're attracted to, right? Yeah. So if you're attracted to bullshit, then you're actually seeking bullshit. And you have to become clear with that, right? So you have to become aware that this is what is actually showing up, because this is actually what I need in order to move forward, right? Because you're not gonna evolve unless the challenge shows up for you to elevate.
I actually feel like, and Shamik, let me know if you're okay with this. So Jeremy is actually in the waiting room right now, and I feel like this would be a good time to let him in, because this is something that we've been working on. But before I let him in, so Felix and I kind of like gave you a lot of stuff. So I would love to help you integrate it a little bit, a little taste of how it works. So like, you know, because it's not enough to just like listen. We really need to like integrate and like really like process it. So what are some big things that you're taking away from our interaction right now for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things. I mean, a lot is coming up for me. One, you know, I used to be really attracted to unavailability. It was because, you know, I had the ultimate unavailable father, right? Like never, not here and on this planet. So I was very drawn to that energy, that like constant searching. And a couple of years ago, I went through this like really disastrous pursuit where like somebody really led me on and completely depleted me. And now I'm like very repelled by like that narcissistic, self-centered energy. And so to answer your question, Felix, you know, like I want somebody who can throw the ball back if I throw it to them, right? Like someone who's willing to play ball, like tennis, like tit for tat, you know? So that means presence, like available. You know, the other thing that really came up for me is energetically, like I have to really refine what it is that I want, because it's not so easy for me, because I have feminine, I have masculine, and I have to see like what type of balance the other person can provide, right? Because it's not there, it gets more complicated on this side of the heterosexual fence. And so like that's the other piece I need to just figure out. Like I need to really sit down and like refine that more.
And I think so what I'm hearing for you is the main piece is like, yeah, getting that clarity, you know, like, so wielding that knife of clarity for yourself. And because I said this a couple of times on some of my lives, and like 100% of my clients are like, I'm not as clear as I thought I was. Because when a bitch take out that knife of clarity, we just like, and they're like, actually, I guess I didn't know. So what I'm hearing for you is like in terms of the energetic balance as well as the values piece, which is deception number 5. So preview for Friday. But yeah, deception number 5 is all about values versus checklists. And now I think is a good time to actually bring Jeremy in, because this is something we've been talking about a lot. But that's what I'm hearing for you though, Shamik, is like, use this time to get really clear and like keep going on those Skype dates and stuff. And like, because actually Leah said something really amazing. She said, I also think you need to recognize what you don't want, but be open to what you do want rather than very specific, as what that is may not have been a possibility before. So I
Absolutely.
love that. And I think getting clear on what you want is absolutely just as important as getting clear on what you don't want. But yeah, let's bring Jeremy in and see what he has to say. Jeremy,
so,
hold on, your
hey,
audio is still connecting.
So I want to also say, like,
very specific. Oh, you just lower the volume on that, Jeremy, so that it doesn't. That's okay.
No, and
we
also,
all did it. You're not the only one. We all did it.
Shamik, also, this is a ongoing conversation. So this is not something that's going to be solved in 10, 20, 30, an hour, a week, you know? So it's a process in which you'll have to practice and relate and like, you know, recognize, and so it's continual. So that's what I'm saying. So give yourself that give yourself that freedom to, and not pressure of like, I have to figure this out now. Like, this is a process.
Well, that's a perfect segue for Jeremy, because Jeremy, how long
Jeremy going in.
How long have we been talking about this? So let's just come on in, Jeremy. What do you have to add to this conversation? Because we're talking about values, which is like literally where we're at.
Well, I've been working with the values piece because I used to have a checklist, what I want in a guy, like, you know, like tall, handsome, but I would guess I was doing it the wrong way. So working with Amelia, we've been really working on the values, like what type of guy I want, like the value, like honesty, or, you know, like not like physical qualities, which I was looking for before, more like, you know, someone who's compassionate, someone who is adventurous, someone, you know, those type of qualities. And I was telling Amelia because I actually met a guy that I fell in love with his values, but, you know,
that made me cry so much. Oh my God.
So like, it feels so different when you like someone for their values than when you're basing on a checklist, because it's like you're falling in love with someone's more for what someone aligns to you than with like what you could just see in the person, you know what I mean? But he was a straight guy, and I'm just like, okay, there's something I need to work on, because if I'm seeing people with the values I'm looking for, there must be something I still need to work on. So I'm still working on that piece. So
well, actually, so Jeremy, what I want to say to that again, like, one, don't be so hard on yourself. Like like this is a huge step from what you were attracting. So just like the fact that he's straight or whatever, like it's like, to me, and I said this to you already, it's like, it just shows you're really ready, and like you needed to experience what that felt like to be like, oh my gosh. And I'll share a personal experience for me. Like when I got closer to like the right person or the right people, I was experiencing new things. So for you to really find someone and you attracted this person that aligned with your values so that you could experience what that was like in your body. So for me, you know, a lot of you, especially those of you who saw my super deep heavy video this morning, I've been through a lot. And so I was not attracted to men who treated me well. And so I remember when I met this guy, and I fell hard for him. Oh my gosh, I feel so hard for this guy. He was such a gentleman. It was just like certain things where literally like my body would physically be like, is this really happening? Because he just like opened doors, walked on the outside of the street, like paid for everything, but not from a place of like, I'm waiting for you to pull out your wallet, truly from a place of like, I'm paying for this because this is what I want. Like I was experiencing, and the way that he spoke to me and the way that he listened to me, I was just like, And not all the things were there, right? Obviously I'm not with that guy, and that guy actually broke my heart pretty badly, but it was another lesson in the right direction, because I'll always be thankful for him. And I even told him this. I literally told him, I was like, you shattered my heart to pieces, but honestly, thank you, because you broke me open so I could like put it back together in the right way. And he was just like, I appreciate that. And I was just like, whatever, dude, bye. But anyway, if he had not been in my life, I would have not experienced being treated that way. So I just want to say, don't because I can hear it. You're kind of like, oh, so I guess I still have something. So when I say you're not being a vibrational match, again, I'm always about self-love. This is not to shame yourself for what you have not yet been able to create. This is to celebrate what you are creating and what you're like. Honestly, when you told me that, Jeremy, I was so happy, because I was like, you're ready. Like you were like the values. How long we've been working on values, Jeremy? We've been working on values.
Wow.
So the fact that it's finally like clicked and like it's shown up for you, so celebrate that,
Okay.
Yeah. Let me just check comments here. Holly is in the building. Holly, jump on if you want to jump on. We need to see it. But to those of you who would like to join the kiki that we're having here, I posted the Zoom link on here. So just come on in. We'll just let you in. It's a party at this point. Let's see we have about 20 minutes left. What else do we want to talk about? We're here.
I think we should flip the script a little bit and ask you guys how dating is going in quarantine in New York City and in South America.
Oh my gosh. Felix, so you go first.
Yeah, no. Listen, I am an open book, and this is one of the things for me that I've worked on. Like, I don't want to have to do the work of having to like remember things. Like, I just am like, this is who I am. Like, this is what dating's been cool. I'm on Hinge. I'm on a couple dating apps. I'm talking to a couple people, but I'm very clear, and I move on very quickly. And maybe that can be something that I get to work on. Who knows, right? So I'm not here like claiming like I know this. Like I'm in the process with you. I've done a couple virtual dates, and that's been really cool. The last one I did was 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't like there weren't necessarily matches for me, but it was a very awesome conversation, and I got to really relate to some really awesome folks, and I feel like it got me to the next step, because I think that's what it's really is about, to get yourself to a point where your state is consistent. Because here's the thing, like when your state is dependent on an outer source from an external source, then it's unstable, right? So what's happening for me now is that, and I'm gonna say the word. What's the word? Intrinsic, right? So when the value is
Felix, slay me.
Right. So when I'm looking at my world from inside out, as opposed to like what can I change outside in, right? So when I'm not dependent on what's outside, right? Whether it's money, whether it's the mate, whether it's the car, whether it's the house, right? When it's an intrinsic value, then I am who I am, and then I project that. Then I'm having the best time of my life, and that's what's happening right now with my life, is that I'm becoming very, very consistent in work, in dating, in everywhere, in every piece of my life. And it's because I don't necessarily need something to make me whole. I'm bringing my whole self to wherever I am, and that's what's attracting whatever I'm having. So I don't necessarily want to have someone. I'm attracting someone by being who I am, and I'm just being the best me that I can be. And that's not to say that I'm not gonna have. I'm probably gonna. Listen, we all get knocked down. We're all gonna get knocked down, because there's gonna be shit that's gonna come up, and then we're gonna have to deal with it. But what I'm saying is, when you get to a place where you're like, emotionally consistent and you're grounded and you're not depending on an external thing to validate your values, right? Where you're validating your values and then they're showing up.
Like the flower that blooms.
There's so much freedom. So I had a great virtual date with many people, and I just got to hear from many different people, and I was like, yo, these people are so awesome. And that's it, right? So when you can, at any point, you can choose to either criticize or praise. And I chose to praise these people because they were giving it a shot. They were like in a virtual date environment. And so just look for more things to praise and you'll have a much better time. So I'm having a great time and I'm single and I'm not rushing it because I understand that whoever is for me is being prepared for me. So they're going through the same, they're going through a process too, in which at some point we will meet.
Parallel lives.
And that's okay. Don't rush.
Love that. I'm gonna let Leah in, y'all. I'm gonna let Leah in, and I'm gonna also answer the question, but I'm gonna let Leah in so she can be here. So for me, I'm kind of like in that next cycle of dating. So like before, oh my gosh, Leah, you're like sideways. There we go. Leah from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah.
Hi, Leah.
So this is something that I always recommend to my clients is like to date yourself first. Like before we even get into your dating plan and all that, it's like have a relationship with yourself. And so for me, before my last relationship, like I don't care how cute the guy is, but I'm going to tell him that I'm in a relationship and that I'm committed. Why? Because that relationship is with myself and I'm committed to myself and I'm going to give myself at least 3 months, right? I ended up giving myself like 6 months because I ended up like loving it so much, maybe even closer to like 8, almost 9 months. Like I just was so falling in love with myself that the vibration was just kept rising and rising, that these dudes that I used to keep attracting were just not a match. And it was just like, I want my vibration, my blossom, my bloom to be so high that you've got to like meet or exceed that to even be like allowed to pollinate. You know what I mean? So I was just on that tip and then I felt it. I was ready to start dating. And I mean, well, that's not for tonight. Maybe we can talk about dating plans next week or something. But I had a dating plan that I had for myself. And I work with my clients on a dating plan. Just like you have a nutrition plan, you can have a dating plan. Absolutely. So I followed a dating plan for myself based on what I needed, right? So I'll give you an example of what goes on that dating plan. So just like in a nutrition plan, it's like, okay, you're eating too many cheeseburgers or whatever. So like eat more vegetables. So for me, deception number one.
I love how you're trying to relate it to what I do.
No, I'm trying to relate. Like, well, honestly, everyone can relate to food.
Yeah,
plans.
You're right.
But for me, deception number one. If y'all watch that video, I was lying to myself saying that I was okay with casual hookups because it was New York culture, it was Wall Street culture. Bitch, I'm not okay with that. I'm like an open-hearted, surrendered woman. I am not okay with casual hookups. So part of my dating plan was like, don't freaking sleep with the guy for a long time. So that's an example of like something that would go in a dating plan because so before it didn't work. So you need to like change that shit to like make it work, right? You're gonna say something, Felix?
Yeah, no. So this is what happens with a lot of people is that they're like, but let me hear about you so I can get the answer. But I want to know what you're getting from this, right? Because ultimately, you're the one who has to do the processing in order to move forward.
Me or them?
So what?
Leah's here too. Leah has something to say too.
Yes, I would love to hear from Leah too.
Hi.
Hey, Leah.
11 a.m.
So I'm the international voice. 11 a.m. Sydney. Dating in quarantine has been an interesting experience. I'm recently single, but I'm very good at letting go. So I don't feel recently single. I feel like I've already grieved that. So I'm straight back in the scene. I had coronavirus. So that was an interesting experience. I was in isolation for a month. But I'd started talking to somebody who I had a really good connection with, one person in particular, and we spoke. We actually didn't meet for 5 weeks, and that was a new experience for me. Usually my way of dating would be, let's meet. If we haven't kind of arranged it within a week, I'm kind of like, I'm not really interested. I don't want to invest time and energy into someone if I don't know that there's something physical connection wise. And I mean, there's only so much you can find out by speaking to someone over a phone. So I was very reserved and holding back and waiting until we actually met, and we went on a quarantine walk. So we had a 1.5 meter distance between us, and that was a fun experience too.
So cute.
So yeah, I think it's given more time to be just in the talking phase and the getting to know someone a bit deeper. It just felt less throwaway.
Also too, like I've noticed, especially in a dating situation, so many people are more open, right?
Yeah.
And in a way that I haven't experienced pre-quarantine.
Yeah.
And also myself. Like people are just like open and like wanting to connect. Like we're just starving for it. And I love what you said, like it's a great time to just talk. And Leah, you said it too, like it's a great time to just talk and like not go, because you know, a lot of us go straight for that. Not me, not on my dating plan. I'm like, listen.
So here's what happens with a lot of people, and this is what kind of like the environment is doing for us now. A lot of people get attached in the looks. A lot of people get attached, I don't know, in a last name or like in an idea of the person or like who the person can be. And like you can't do any of that right now. So all you're doing is connecting with someone. Yo, don't put that pressure on yourself. All you're doing is getting to know someone. Get to know someone. Get to know yourself. How about that? And yo, like I was actually thinking this earlier. This is so meaty that this can be an actual series. Like this is so much like
quarantine on NBC or Netflix.
How Do You Attract Love is like a series. So I love that you brought it because it's such a meaty subject and I love it so much. And
we're gonna talk about it for the rest of our lives.
We're gonna talk about it for like a month or more. Like
I want to pick up something that Leah said.
Yes.
And Amelia, I mentioned it last time, you know, about this, like about what she said, and you were like, well, what's the rush, you know? And I want to dig deep into that because I feel like, I mean, obviously I feel the rush in New York City, you know, but I would love to like unpack that for all of us as to like, but what's really behind that, you know? And that creates a very limited patience. It's like, oh, this isn't meeting my criteria, let me walk away from it. And I feel that from other people. Like people just not invested in figuring it out until this quarantine. I feel like people are more generous. But before, I mean, people are in a rush, you know, like, but what's really going on? I'm curious about that.
The first thing that popped, I could probably go on about this, but the first thing that really pops up for me is, and I talked about it a little bit on today's live earlier, and I'll probably keep talking about it because it's something that's coming up for a lot of my clients and I'm seeing it. It's like, we're more comfortable with fantasy than reality. And I'm gonna say that one more again. We're more comfortable with fantasy than reality. And reality, because reality is so vulnerable. And so reality can often be like, yo, I'm really feeling you and this is vulnerable. And so now I'm gonna have to rush to get to the title or to the whatever, because I can't even just be with this, like, what are these feelings in my body? What are these sensations?
Oh my God.
That I'm going
I'm
through?
uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. If I can't have you, this is,
if I don't have you like claim and like,
oh my God, that's what I was feeling.
I was feeling the exact same way. Yo, am I the only one? Am I the only one?
It's a scarcity piece.
And no, here's the thing.
We all think we all think that when we like someone and there's a connection, there's a scarcity piece somewhere that we think that this is our last chance at love. So I'm going to have to squeeze this seed until I suffocate it because it's my last chance. And it's not from an abundance mindset. It's certainly not from a flower blossoming mindset.
Nope.
And it's just like, and we rob ourselves of the joy of like just getting to know each other. I say this to all of my single clients, and I know I've said this to some of y'all who have been my clients and are my clients. It's like, okay, your goal is to find the one. Let's say you're gonna find the one. You're gonna get married. That's your goal. You're gonna get married. You're gonna whatever. That's gonna happen. You know why? Because you're a badass bitch, and that's gonna happen. So this time of being single, this is the only time you're gonna have. So until then, when you have a whole new host of shit for when you get married and whatever, like enjoy being single. Or like when people get engaged, people are like, when's the wedding? When you get married, when's the baby? It's like, bitch, can I fucking have this ring on my finger for a little bit before you ask me to plan a wedding, to plan the event of your lifetime? You know, it's just like,
I'm gonna raise my hand.
Go ahead.
Hey, yo, check it.
Get passionate, and plus I'm like 3 glasses in, so you know.
Check it. I'm all right.
Yeah, you have bourbon in your wine.
I do have that. Yo, if you're not happy now, what makes you think you're gonna be happy later? All right, so happiness is not a destination. You are not going to achieve a goal and be happy. Right? You're on mute, Amelia, by the way. I
know, I'm just reacting, and Holly said, dang, Amelia, we're more comfortable with fantasy than reality. Blown away. That's it. We're gonna have the shirts, we're gonna print them out. They're gonna be on my website, available for purchase. Go ahead, Felix.
So a lot of us are trading temporary happiness for long-term pain, and are not willing to endure the short-term pain for the long-term happiness. Listen, hold on. I'm not done. I'm not done. Stop. I'm rapping. Yo, happiness is not a destination. You're not going to find it at the end of the line. I'm telling you this, you have to fall in love with the process. And that's what Kobe taught me. But yo, you have to learn, and you get to be presently happy. Because if you, and I'm gonna go back to that extrinsic, if you are depending on something outside of yourself to be happy, then that's something you want to look at. It's something that you just want to observe, and you want to be able to like just observe, just be able to be aware of it, because there's something that needs to change, because then it's unstable, right? Because what happens when he leaves?
Oh.
But you know, the opposite has also happened, right? Like lately I've been going on a lot of dates, and I've been really stepping it up, right? Like treating the other person exactly how I want to be treated. And it really, like, when you show up like that, it can really intimidate people too. And I'm like, oh, and then I second guess myself. I'm like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have been, like, maybe I should have like unfolded it in a more casual way, or tempered.
Wait, hold on.
You know? Can
you tell me more, a little bit more about that? Like, give me an example, if you can.
I'm gonna just say it'll intimidate the wrong people, boo. Because like,
right,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If do you?
Because Shamik, the right man for you is gonna be able to handle all of that. I promise. Go ahead.
My question is,
no, I mean that's true.
Do you really want to be with someone who's intimidated by you?
No, absolutely not. But you know, you can't help but second guess and be like,
absolutely.
Could I be doing something else, right? Like, and I think it would be a blind spot of me if I didn't have that, if I wasn't able to reflect on that level either, right?
Absolutely.
So, and it's just really hard to always be like, going back to that center and be like, no, like, this is me, like how you're saying, like this, take it or leave it, right? But like, where is that an ego trap though? You know, like I'm also conscious of that.
Yeah, I would second that. I feel like I'm constantly on a tightrope of trying to please so I'm pretty relaxed, like I'm pretty easygoing if I know what's going on. But I feel like sometimes I'm trying to be the easy breezy cool girl with whatever, because I don't want to come across as too much. But then when I am myself, it does come across as too much, which maybe down the line would be okay. But at the start, it may be a lot. So am I just a lot, or am I just presenting too much at the start?
Well,
Like, how can you be authentically you? Like, where is the line?
You can be authentically you right now.
Felix is like the master of our Felix, you're gonna just write all of our t-shirts and our cards. So would anyone like to sponsor the Wind Down Wednesday merch store?
This is the thing. Like,
I want that on a shirt.
I want to ask this. Why do you think that keeps showing up?
Why does that keep showing up?
Yeah.
Past experiences, because I've been told I'm too much.
Right. Are you too much?
I don't think I am.
I don't think so either. I don't have enough Aaliyah. I want more.
So as long as you believe that you are, you will like, as long as there's doubt, there will continue to be doubt.
Yeah, there's definitely a little doubt there.
No, yeah.
But you have no doubt, Felix. None.
Of course I've had doubt, but I maneuver. I'm like, is this, because what you're saying is that you are willing to compromise who you are in order to like be liked by this person who doesn't like who you are. Like, that's what I'm hearing.
So, but I also, yes, I agree with Felix, and also I also see where you're coming from, Shamik and Leah. Absolutely. Because the question is, but are there unconscious deceptions, if you will, in the way of that? And like, am I being whatever? And the thing is, like, the way to look, apart from like unpacking it weekly on a session where it's like, cut through that shit, like, you kind of have to just play with it. And it's like, am I like, be willing to go too far in one direction or another? So I'm gonna go back to the thing about the dating plan, right? So when I help people with a dating plan, and when I create a dating plan for myself, it's just a guideline, right? Because it's like, we don't want to be too rigid. And like, what I'm hearing, just if I'm listening with my energy ears, because I hear what y'all are saying, like I hear it and I understand it, but energetically, it's control.
Yeah.
And control is not blossom.
Right.
Blossom is pure surrender. It's pure, like, this is what it is. And I'm gonna share a story. And this is a story that I share a lot on when people interview me about how to attract love. And it's one of my favorite stories, and it's about a very special man in my life. And so this was when we had just started dating, and we weren't Facebook official yet. We weren't whatever. Did Felix get kicked out? Oh, he turned his camera off. Anyway. So because we're talking about control, and what I'm hearing energetically is I'm trying to figure out the right formula for this Rubik's Cube. And it's just very control-y and tight, instead of just like blossom, flower, surrender, being authentic. And that's what it is. So we were just dating. We were like not even 2 weeks into the relationship. We didn't even like acknowledge that we were dating. We were talking, seeing, whatever, vicinitizing, whatever these kids are saying. Not Facebook official or anything. I saw, like, we went to this place with a lot of people. I saw him talking to this really hot girl. I was so jealous. I mean, she was hot. She had big boobs. She had everything I didn't have. And he was talking to her, and I was all like, I was reacting like the past. Oh, he's like, he has a lot of girls and this and that. And I was just like this, control. We're walking, we're leaving the event, we're walking back to the car. He's acting like nothing's wrong. Meanwhile, everything is wrong because I've been all day stewing. All day, like, I'm gonna kill somebody, okay? So we're walking, and I'm just like, control, like, be the cool girl, be nice, don't say anything. Like, I was literally like, and finally he just was like, is everything okay? And I was like, yep. And then he goes in front of me, stops me, and is like, is everything okay? Now that's what I'm talking about, being penetrated with someone's love, because that shit penetrated right through me, shattered all my defenses, and I was just like, I'm jealous. I let it out. I cried. I said, I'm jealous. Who was that bitch with her big ass breasts all in your face? Like, I just was like, and then I was like, look, and I feel stupid for even saying this because I know we're not Facebook official, but like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I was crying, like the tears were like projectiles shooting out of my eyes. And here's the thing, the reason why I didn't even want to let that all out was because I was already planning how he was going to reject me. I was already planning how he was going to diss me. I was already planning how he was going to be like, oh, why you got to be all jealous for? Or why you got to take it like that? Because those are the fuck boys I used to mess with. So I was already expecting that. But I was like, you know what? Show up, go hard or go home. And I was like, this is what it is. I'm jealous. I'm torn apart. I've been fuming all day long, and I've been trying to hide it from you because I don't want to look like a jealous creep. But you know what? This is how I feel. And I felt so good just letting it out. And I will tell you, it was the way that he responded that had me say, you're the one. Fortunately, not the one anymore, but was the one for that period of time. So I said, like the way he responded, because he could have gone lots of ways with that. He could have been like, why you gotta be like that? It ain't even like that. Oh, we not even official. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever. All the same bullshit that I used to deal with. But what he said that helped me blossom and surrender even more, he just said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you had been holding on to that all day. I had no idea. And there's nothing going on with me and that girl. And I'm with you. And I'm just so sorry that you were holding on to that all day. And I'm so glad that you told me. And I was floored. I was like, wait, so this is how healthy men show up when you be yourself? Like, because I went crazy. Like, we were like in a public place and I was like crying, okay? So I let go of control. Like, you can call it an orgasm if you want, because I use orgasm for not just sex. Like, it was definitely an orgasm. Like, I just let go. I surrendered. I shattered. I showed all my cards. I dove head first. I did not know if I could build my wings on the way down. I could have landed on the rocks, but he caught me. So that's what you want to hold out for. That's all I gotta say. Cheers. I'm drunk.
Yeah, no, I think I'm also drunk. I'm not drunk. I'm tipsy. I think
We're also over
we
an
should.
hour, just saying, but
I think we should cut the Facebook and we can just have a conversation with them if that's cool as well. I think we can cut
the Facebook right now, but Milka is in the building. Holly is in the building. We got like a Wall Street, inroads, freaking sexy 20-somethings working on Financial District in New York City.
Inroads.
Reunion going on. But so Felix is wanting to leave the live. So goodbye.
I don't want to leave it. I think this is getting juicy. And I just want to leave you guys with something that you can apply right now. And I feel like, I don't know.
Ooh, right? Like Milka says, authenticity is a delicate thing. Some people don't deserve it. Absolutely. So,
Absolutely.
well, here's the thing. So okay, I'm gonna just say this too. When I share that story, disclaimer, don't go trauma bonding with every next fuckboy that you date. I'm not saying freaking like let all your shit loose with like people who don't deserve it. Like, for me, in that specific moment, that's what I needed to do because I was holding on to control. Now, he could have been a fuckboy too. Now, that would have informed me. And honestly, if he would have responded in one of those ways, then I had enough self-love that I would have let him go. But he didn't, so I did not. You know what I mean? So
she did not.
So don't just go trauma bonding with a bunch of losers.
No.
I have a question. Oh, before I go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna let you ask your question, but before you say that, like Brene Brown says, like people earn your story. So like there's a reciprocal, like you know who's for you by how much they're willing to invest, like reciprocate. And like it's not an expectation, but it's like, yo, if I'm putting my shit out there, like I want to see your shit too. And like I'll put my shit out there freely, but like I want to see your shit. I want to see your darkness too. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of us is like, we want to be our best, but the thing is like, we are light and shadow. We are both, right? So we must accept all of ourselves, or else we will continue to like shame ourselves and feel bad for ourselves for having this darkness. And it's part of us. It's ingrained. So go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, I think I got it. Okay. Whew. So relating to my story, how do you let your vulnerability show despite past experiences? Because now I can go back to an experience where I was vulnerable with a straight guy when I was young, and I let them know and they shamed me. So now Amelia telling her story, it makes me want to just be more vulnerable and just tell the straight guy, listen, I think you're a great guy. Any girl would be lucky to have you. How do you know in that point where your vulnerability is okay and not overbearing for the other person?
Yeah, so I have a quick answer to that. And I feel like I'm not going to go too deep because I feel like that could launch into a whole nother hour discussion. But this is, see, I love it. It always comes, this is why my company is Self-Love Story. This is why it's always about self-love, because self-love is also about self-trust. And the reason why people aren't able to be as vulnerable, myself included, as we need to be, is because it's directly analogous to the level of self-trust that we have. So if you're being vulnerable, it's not about how they react. It's really not. Because for me, in that split second that I chose to share that vulnerability with him, I knew that I would be okay no matter how he reacted. And I was even prepared to let him go if he would have reacted like an asshole. And so that's the place that you want to get to, that level of self-trust where you're sharing to give, really. Like you're sharing you to give yourself the experience of being witnessed, and you're sharing to give to that other person to be like, this is what vulnerability looks like. Not from a superior, arrogant place, but from a place of like who I really am, and you can take it or leave it. And if you leave it, then you leave it. If you take it, then all right, let's party. Let's move on to the next level. You know, so that question is really like only you can answer that. And this is why it's all about self-love. It's all about self-trust, because if you don't have that, you'll continuously be shaming yourself for the mistakes that you've made, and you'll be carrying that shame into every relationship. I'll blow myself away, y'all. I'll blow myself away.
You know that saying,
I can't stand her.
Pain is the touchstone for spiritual progress. You know that saying, the pain is the touchstone for spiritual progress. I kind of feel like it was so painful for me, like when I fell in love with my high school best friend, and to find out like he wasn't into me because he was straight. It was like so painful. I was like, I can't do that to myself again. And then like fast forward 30 years, it was so painful for me to like fall in love with the narcissist that I was like, I cannot ever do that to myself again, you know. And that's my self-love journey, but like pain, but that's also like a really painful way to test all the things my hand is gonna burn on, you know? So I need to like also find another way to figure it out.
Oh yeah, and there are other ways, you know, and it's like there comes a point where we just won't tolerate that extreme pain anymore. And that's a big part of like how I've developed like my programs and stuff, because it's like, look, I went through all the shit so that like I don't want you to have to go through all the shit. Although a lot of my people, they've all gone through some shit themselves, you know what I mean? But it's just like,
I've gone through this shit.
yeah. So I think it's a good time. Like we can keep kikiing, but I think it's a good time to end the live.
Yeah, let's end the live and let's
so,
continue to be on Zoom.
I'll end the live. Or do you have any last words, and then I'll close it off the live? But everyone who wants to keep talking, stay on. But
Me have last words?
do you have last words? And then I'm gonna close the live.
I always have last words.
Yes.
So you know, I love Brene Brown, and she says you can measure someone's courage based on how vulnerable they can be,
Yes.
right? Vulnerability takes courage. And she defines vulnerability as being able to put yourself in a place where you can't control the outcome. And that's what Amelia did. By being vulnerable, she put herself out there, and she wasn't able to control the outcome, but she was still okay. You have to realize, and I think we all have to realize, is that we're stronger than we think we are. And we don't know until we need to know, right? And vulnerability, there's so much power in vulnerability. And we have this idea that and like, you know, there is a definition where, you know, vulnerability is weakness, but vulnerability is also strength. So it's just to say that we can live a life where we are safe. We can live a life where we don't have to take any risks. We can live a life where everything is pretty good. But, you know, the enemy of great is good. So settling for good is not good enough. And the last thing I have to say is, I think it's a huge disservice, and I think it's a huge dishonor to not be yourself, right? And this is why these people continue to come into your path, is because you still haven't gotten to the point where you're like, nah, fuck that. I don't accept that. And this is why these people will come back, because they will test who you are. And it's not in a, they will, you will, these people will not even like, you won't even give them time. There's gonna be a point that you're gonna grow to the point where you're like, I'm not even gonna give you time. You're not worthy. And it's not because they're not worthy, it's because they believe themselves to not be worthy. You know that? Like, we're all in a process. You have to understand, you have to see outside of yourself. We're all in a process. So if someone believes that they're not worthy for you, you gotta believe that. You gotta be like, you know what? That's cool. I'm not doing that, because there are billions of people in the world. So when you're attaching yourself to one, what are you really saying about yourself?
Oh my God, I'm getting goosebumps.
So move on fast. Move on fast. There are enough people. There are billions of people. Like, yo, move on fast. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you so much, everybody. So with that said, the mic has been dropped. The church choir is now singing. And thank you so much for joining another. Felix and I are here every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m.
Till we
Pacific.
die, till we're gone.
Thursday morning, 11 a.m. Sydney. And what is that? 9 European? I don't even know. Anyway, go to a time converter, figure it out. You're big boys and girls. But we're here every week, every day for the rest of our lives. So join us and give us topic ideas. And thank you. So this was a family reunion. We had Milka, we had Holly.
This was amazing.
People from my high school. We had Gabby, we had Justin, we had, oh my gosh, who else? We had Eddie, we had JP, we had Zeke, we had Rick. I mean, everybody. Everybody was here. Thank you so much. We're going to keep drinking. We're going to keep talking so y'all can keep wondering what we end up talking about. But we're going to stop the live for now. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, I'm covering deception number 4. Friday, deception number 5. Also Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I'm talking with Reese about Are Your Friends Trash?
Are Your Friends Trash?
That one's going to be a good one. And then
yes,
definitely next week, Wednesday, every Wednesday for the rest of our lives. So thank you for being here and watching me descend into sober to tipsy to buzzed to now sufficiently drunk. Anyway, good night. It was all great. See you later.